Hi, welcome to Healing Humanity. If I asked you today to define what it meant to you to heal humanity, what would you say? So I've been thinking about this a lot, and I watch as more and more Islamic groups are forming in every state of this nation. I watch as predators that, for those of us who are aware of what's been going on for the last centuries, I watch as predators are released back on the streets. No, nothing to stop them from continuing their torture of women and children, boys and girls. I watch as the moral fiber of our people is destroyed. I watch as men and women are pitted against one another, not even raising college students to not even be able to determine or describe what a woman is. Have we lost our minds? Look, at some of this that I'm stating to you might be old news, but it's not. It may not be on the front page of every newspaper, but it is still within the fabric of our society now because we've ignored it all. We've allowed it to continue. I've been on this path for a number of years now, and as I've said, and I've gone through, for a lack of a better way to explain it, absolute hell. And I'm irritated today because I watch as these Islamic groups come into America and they're making their voices heard and making big stinks around the country. And I know that people are standing up and they are trying to fight, but um, I don't see our police force or our governors really standing up against this. And the phrase that Martin Luther King shared about ignorance comes to mind. When this also because of Fauci, and during his whole service and not having anything to say, and the amount of disrespect that entire hearing shared with the public ought to disgust us the most. And churches being ignorant, pastors being ignorant to what people actually needed during COVID and what they need now. So Martin Luther King says, nothing in all the world is more dangerous than a sincere ignorance, than sincere, easy for me to say, sincere ignorance and conscious stupidity. And that just is like at the forefront right now of everything that I'm watching, everything that I'm hearing about. When does it stop? When do we start to fight back? When do we say, you know what, we don't want this leading our children or our children's children. We don't want that for our lives. We don't want that for our country. And I'm not talking just about the Islamic people, although they are a grave concern of mine. There is documented evidence, pictures, information that you can look up. In a lot of those Middle Eastern countries that have been taken over by the Islamic regime, and especially the Taliban, these countries have undergone such changes for both men and women, but primarily for their women, where they now they're not even able to go to school past, I think, sixth grade, if I remember correctly. Not able to sing, not able to read. I mean, it's as if they don't even exist. So again, what is a woman? I'm appalled. I'm appalled at the level of disrespect and the level of ignorance that we are having in this time. And the churches, I haven't heard, I watched a lot of, social media stuff. I haven't heard one pastor stand up to speak against this. But I sure have heard a pastor say that it's Jesus's will that women have abortions. Are you kidding me? What kind of blasphemy is that? When do we as a country say enough is enough? When do we as a people build back the moral fiber of this nation and become what we once were, only better? Because the more that we hide our heads in the sand, the more exposed we become to the corruption and the evil that is all around us. I've walked through several years, many years of judgment over my life, right? And just the other day, I heard something about that if something's not bearing fruit, then we should just take it out of our lives. But let me tell you something. This information that I share with you may not be bearing money, but it certainly is reaching the right people. Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be under such judgment. I wouldn't have a tax on my life. I wouldn't have a tax on my car. I wouldn't be going through all of the things that I have gone through if what I had to say didn't matter. So when I think of bearing fruit, I would say that that's fruit enough for now. Fruit can be many things in this world. And right now, the fruit we need is truth. The fruit we need is change. The fruit we need is moral compasses that guide us. Instead of people putting their heads in the sand, instead of pastors ignoring truth, ignoring the pain and the suffering that's all around us. Instead of pastors joining in on the pain and suffering. Like I told you before, I had one pastor show up at my door with a weapon behind his back. Pastor of a church, well-known church. But because my fruit wasn't monetary, controllable, that wasn't good enough. Right? We need to start reviewing what we believe to be good enough fruit. Because right now, we're in trouble. This country is in trouble, and it's been in trouble for a very long time. There's so much I suppose I could share. I just don't know how far to take it, but I can tell you that our humanity is suffering. The way we treat one another, the way we think about one another, the way we judge one another, the way we don't love one another, all of that needs healing. Every bit of it. The way we help one another or don't help one another. The way we make choices in our lives. The way we make money. All of that needs healing. Now, I don't know that that will all ever get totally fixed. But if we don't start the way things are going, we're just steps away from being overthrown and ending up like Afghanistan or Iran or any of those other, you know, Middle Eastern countries that have been um, infiltrated by these regimes that do not have anyone's best interest. They are very selfish and they have their own best interest at heart. And they certainly don't have the best interest of women or children at heart. Because if they did, they would be thinking freedom. They would be thinking, um, cooperation and collaboration. And they would be thinking about how to raise children in a less violent environment rather than raising them to be violent. They're like animals. And that's just merely my opinion. We need people that can be tenderly tough to be able to heal this country, heal our people, heal one another. And if we don't start thinking about that kind of fruit, we're screwed.